We have been thinking about those folks in Texas, and our heart just breaks for them as those search and rescue missions continue. And we're thinking, okay, if you're in an area with no cell phone service, how are you going to get those life-saving weather alerts? And a lot of people online are talking about these NOAA weather radios that, again, you might not have thought of for a long time.
Yeah, so there's some models there behind you there. You know, we look, they're $20 on Amazon. I borrowed this from my neighbor Joe, so shout out to him. This one's got a particularly long antenna, but most of them are a little bit smaller than this. But you turn it on.
To a cool and shaded location.
And this is telling us about the heat warning for today. So, you know, for the heat warning in Phoenix, you're going to get that information if you needed this. But here's where that would really come in handy. You mentioned a place without cell phone service or a place where the service has been knocked out near those summer camps. They lost their cell phone capabilities there. A weather radio would be the only way you would be able to get those warnings to you. And, you know, the important thing here is that you know what you're listening to. The National Weather Service, they issued a flood watch the day before. So talk a little bit about the difference between a watch and a warning here. So they issued a flood watch the day before, and a flood watch, we get these all the time in Arizona, especially during monsoon season. It means it's a bigger area that's covered by that. It means that flooding is possible in this area. It's going to be a bigger amount of time, something like noon to 5 p.m. or all day Tuesday, something like that. Then they're going to issue a flood warning if flooding is actually happening, and that's going to be a smaller area. So let's say there's a flood watch issued for, let's say you're going to take your family up to Water Wheel and Payson. This is an area we've seen some flooding before. You're going to take your family to water. There's no cell phone service in that area. You're going to carry this with you. You're going to want to know ahead of time if there is a flood watch for that area. I wouldn't even go if there's a flood watch, first of all. But if that's issued, you're going to say, okay, we've got to stay very weather aware. There's flooding possible here today. Then that's going to alert you to if a warning is issued, that means there is a flood happening. That's what happened in the hours right before those floods in Texas. And you think of all those people who were camping along the shoreline there too, because it was a holiday weekend, and how many of them maybe didn't know there was a flood watch or didn't know what a flood watch meant. And maybe then they got the warning and thought, oh, that's the same thing. What's new? And so you've really got to kind of know the difference. And this is really the best way you can protect yourself. So many slot canyons. You've been up to Havasupai in Arizona. That would be a great idea for there as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas in our state where there is very little cell phone service. And when we were talking about this, Havasupai was the first thing I thought of. We saw that deadly, awful flooding there last summer. And I've been down there. It was years ago. I probably wasn't thinking about it as much as maybe I would now. But it's, of course, right along the water. The flooding can happen quickly. There's little to no cell phone service. So something like this is going to be helpful. Can we turn it on just again so we can hear what it's saying?
So right now it's giving a forecast, but it's kind of cycling through. Comes directly from the Weather Service. So it's giving you the details of the heat warning that's been issued today. So if you were in a place with tornadoes, if you were in a place with a hurricane, any kind of watch or warning is going to be issued through that. But again, in Arizona, I think this is most helpful for the flooding risks that we have, not so much here in the valley. Although if we lost our cell phone signals, I mean, this would be a great way that you could still get that information. But more importantly, you think about all the people who go hiking in Sedona and those slot canyons, and Antelope Canyon up in northern Arizona. And, you know, even Lake Powell, there are places without cell phone service. And if you want to get the latest on anything that is changing very quickly, as our monsoon weather does, a NOAA weather radio is the way to go. So NOAA, N-O-A-A, you know, for the weather service. And again, Amazon, $20.